Okay, we're now recording. Welcome to this week's Q&A. Welcome to everybody watching live. Welcome to everybody watching the replay. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah, just want to make sure. Yep, you're all nodding. Excellent. Okay, let's get to it. Leah Kozatsky has the first question. She says, before this program, I took marine collagen supplements daily as well as chewed sugar-free gum. Can I take the collagen and chew gum? I'd also like to know about the weekly refeed meal. What can we eat? Is there something I could follow in the meal plans? And will we continue having refeed meals week 4 to 8? Okay, so Leah, the last question makes me think you haven't watched the welcome video, because it's all in the welcome video. I talk about the refeed meal, talk about what you should have, everything to do with it. So what I would suggest is that you go and watch the welcome video again. If you watch it on YouTube, we've actually made timestamps for every single thing I talk about. So you can just jump straight to the bit where I talk about the refeed rather than, having to sit through it. To answer your question very quickly, though, yes, you're going to be having a refeed meal every week. The refeed meal can be anything which satisfies your soul. There really isn't any rules about the refeeds, except only have it if you feel you really need it, because obviously less calories is going to burn more fat if that is your goal. But if you need it, it isn't going to do you any harm either. So would I be having it? Probably at this stage of the game, week 4, week 5, yes, I probably would have. On 1,500 calories in the first couple of weeks, would I been having it weeks 1 to 4? Probably not, to be honest, if I was going for the grand prize and I wanted to burn as much fat as possible. But if I really felt that I needed it, it's nice to have that option there. Before the program, I took marine collagen supplements as well as chewed sugar-free gum. Can I continue to do this? I have never taken collagen in my life, probably because I'm vegan, and most of the research that's been done on collagen has been done on animal-based collagen or marine collagen. So I never took collagen because I'm honestly just not sure how a plant-based collagen could be any good. And this is I'm going to caveat this and say I've never done any research into plant-based collagen, so I'm not an expert in it in any way. But collagen is something that comes from, your joints and all that kind of stuff. So I can't imagine how a plant-based collagen would be as effective as an animal-based collagen, but I could be completely wrong. So it's just not something that I have ever looked into. I know a lot of people talk about collagen, and I guess that if I didn't have the option that I have with the aesthetics work that I get done, and I get a lot of aesthetics work done, so therefore I don't feel like I have any issue with collagen. Like my skin is, kept super tight from getting, BBL, broadband laser therapy. I get Moxie laser, I get Morpheus microneedling, I get Botox fillers, all that kind of stuff. And also the skin on my body has always been very good, probably good genetics, but also really good diet, water, exercise, my whole life. So I have never really had an issue with collagen. Who knows, maybe I'll get into my mid 50s, early 60s and decide that collagen is very important, and maybe I'll bring out a collagen line at that point. But it's not something, I have to admit, that I am very versed on, and I really can't give you any advice. But if you have taken a collagen supplement and you like it and you feel benefit from it, then by all means go on ahead and take one. Sugar-free gum, the reason why I'm not big into any kind of gum, especially sugar-free gum, is because whenever you chew gum, your body starts to release insulin because it thinks that there's food coming. So whenever you start to chew something, that's the first part of the digestive process. So as soon as you put gum in your mouth and you start to chew it and your body starts to produce more saliva, what happens is the digestive enzymes in your stomach start to pick up, start to fire, and your pancreas start releasing insulin because they think that something is coming to digest. And so whenever nothing comes, you're making your pancreas work for absolutely no reason. The other thing about gum is it contains microplastics. So you're actually just chewing microplastics and ingesting those into your system. So I do have some natural chewing gum in my bag, which I will chew sometimes for about 5 minutes if I need to freshen my breath, if I'm going into a meeting or something. But it's plastic free, completely natural. But I've never chewed gum. It's not something that I've ever enjoyed doing. It's not something I've ever been into. I think it is a habit we get into, our jaws, going, it's like smoking really in a way. We chew and nom, 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 keep chewing, and it's almost like a comfort kind of mechanism. It's not something I've ever been into. Is it going to do you any harm? Probably not. Doesn't add any calories, but just be aware that it does make your pancreas work whenever they're probably working overtime anyway, especially as we get older. So it's not something that I would recommend, but I don't think it'll do you any harm if you want to continue on with it. Your choice at the end of the day. Okay, Lisa Rodriguez. And by the way, if you're like, Kim, your energy's a little flat today, I've literally just finished recording week 7, day 3. And oh my God, it was really brutal. Like it was, I was lying down for the final set of triceps and I actually started to feel a wee bit nauseous. It's like, this is really, really very intense. So going straight from that into this is why I'm like trying to get my brain in gear a little bit. So you have that to look forward to. Week 7, day 3. You can say, I remember Kim talked about this. You're welcome. You'll get there. Lisa Rodriguez. My left cheek is so much flatter than my right. I think she means her butt cheek. It's noticeably flatter when looking from the side. Sometimes I do 2 sets on the left and 1 on the right to try to even them out. Should I continue to do that? What else would even them out? So Lisa, here's the thing about your butt cheeks that a lot of people don't know. One side is usually noticeably flatter on your non-dominant side. I talk about this a lot. It was one of the things that was mind-blowing to me whenever I realized this years ago through teaching yoga, is that you will normally have one butt cheek is saggier and flatter than the other one because it's on your non-dominant side. So I am right-handed. I've always had a saggy left butt cheek. I never knew why. So my right butt cheek was always nice and high and tight and did not have a line underneath it. And my left butt cheek always had a solid line underneath it. So it was saggier and flatter. And it used to drive me bananas. Why do I have a saggy left butt cheek? How can I lift my saggy left butt cheek? It's part of the reason why I started doing ButtCamp in the first place. Then what I realized is that it's like that because it's my non-dominant side. So because I am right-handed, I throw a ball with my right hand. I hit a racket with my right hand. I, will usually put my right foot forward first if I'm ever sprinting or lunging or doing anything. So on my dominant side, it's much stronger. So your dominant side leg is much stronger. Your dominant side butt is much stronger. Your dominant side arm is usually stronger. So you will always have a dominant side, and it's usually the side that you write with. So that is why your butt cheek is smaller on the other side. It's simply because you push more with your other side. You press more into the foot on the other side. You're stronger overall on the other side. So what I also noticed was that before I started working out with the dumbbells, so interesting, whenever I used to do all machine work, because machines don't use a lot of stabilizing muscles, I was very lopsided. So I would have stood at the end of the sessions with my hands in Namaste. And whenever I glanced at the camera, I realized that my left shoulder was always much higher than my right. And I've really now noticed that without me actually having to pull it down, I used to have to actually physically make myself stand straight. I don't have to do that anymore because the dumbbell workouts work so much on your stabilizing muscles that my body has actually started to build muscle equally on both sides. Really interesting. So my internal obliques, my oblique muscles on the right-hand side of my abs were so much stronger on my right-hand side that they were actually crunching me down and lifting my left shoulder. So now that I'm working out with dumbbells, both sides of my body are so much more even. It's incredible how that has happened. And I've noticed my left butt cheek has actually started to lift. So I haven't done anything differently. I haven't done any left butt cheek work. I haven't done any extra leg work on the left side. None of that. I've just noticed that through working with dumbbells, because I'm using a lot of stabilizing muscles, the balances in my body, or the imbalances have now started to balance. You don't need to do extra work on the left glute because it's not really a glute problem. It's a non-dominant side problem. But here is something that you can do. And this is what I've been doing routinely since I noticed that I had an imbalance. You will have a side that you will always start with whenever you're doing lunges. So say you're going to do any single work, a single arm work, single leg work, single work at all. You will always start with your dominant side. Naturally, you will put your right foot forward or your right foot back, whatever way feels more comfortable. So I want you to start noticing whenever you go to do single leg work, you go to do lunges or skater squats or any of the single leg work. I want you to notice what side you automatically go to start with. And I want you to switch it up. So I want you to start with the opposite side. If you routinely do this, you will start to balance the imbalance. Here's another little tip for you so that you can become more body aware, more conscious of balancing both sides of your body. I want everybody listening to this or watching this, I want you to fold your hands together, right? Interlace your hands like this, okay? Now, whatever way you've interlaced your hands, that's your dominant side. For me, my right hand is dominant, so my right forefinger is actually the one in front. I want you to switch it up and I want you to go the other way. I want you to put your other finger on top. So you literally just, this is their comfortable side, switch it up. Doesn't it feel uncomfortable? You're like, oh, that doesn't feel quite right. Okay, that's not the way I would ever choose to do that. That's how I want you to fold your hands from now on. Anytime you fold your hands, I want you to fold your hands the non-dominant way. Everybody fold your arms. Fold your arms in front of your body. Now fold your arms the opposite way. All right? I'm watching you all. You're all like, what? How? Where? You're like, where does my hand go? Like, it doesn't. You're like, this doesn't make sense. How can I not fold my arms the opposite way? That's because you're not used to doing that. We get into these routines. Whenever you fold your arms like this, right? But for me, it's right hand on left arm, tuck that one in. So the right hand goes over onto my left tricep and then the left hand tucks in. I want you to get into the habit of doing it the opposite way. Anytime you fold your arms, do it the opposite way. So you slap your right tricep with your left hand and you tuck the other one in. That's how I want you to fold your arms. Same with if you ever sit cross-legged. If you sit cross-legged on the floor, anyone who's sitting on the floor, try and do it now. You'll sit cross-legged on the floor. You'll automatically fold your legs in a cross-legged in one way. Whatever way you fold your legs, I want you to do it the opposite way. Put the opposite leg in front. It's, you know, I'm watching you all fold your legs, cross your legs. I love this. Okay. Everybody's playing. It's brilliant. So you can actually teach yourself to be much more balanced by simply doing the opposite side first. So whatever way you cross your arms, automatically cross them the other way. I can now sit with my arms crossed the opposite way easily. And in fact, it's so funny. I find myself now, sometimes I go to cross my hands, I go to interlace my fingers, I go to whatever, and I automatically use the non-dominant side to do the movement because I've trained myself to use the non-dominant side. So single leg work, non-dominant side first. Crossing your hands, non-dominant side first. Crossing your arms, do it the opposite way. Whatever way feels comfortable, do it the opposite way. And you will find that you will start to train the non-dominant side of your body to be more dominant. And so whenever you train the non-dominant side of your body to be more dominant, what happens is the imbalances naturally start to lift. And so because of that, my shoulders have now completely balanced. My left shoulder has balanced. The left side of my body has balanced. My left leg is stronger. My left bicep is stronger. My left butt cheek has lifted. Not because I've done extra work on the other side, but because I've taught myself to favor my non-dominant side in very routine movements where they just don't feel right. So when you're crossing your legs, opposite leg on top. Crossing your arms, opposite arm on top. Crossing your fingers, opposite finger on top. Always switch up the non-dominant side, whatever way you go routinely. When I go to hold a dumbbell, I automatically put my right hand on top, my left hand underneath if I'm doing front raises. So I automatically switch it up. I'll put the left hand on top, the right hand underneath. I choose my non-dominant side and you will notice that the imbalance will change. You're welcome. Such a simple, tiny little shift, but it really is phenomenal for balancing the left and the right hand side of the body. Okay, great. Monica wins. I have the dreaded back fat around my waist. We know there is no such thing as spot reducing fat. You are correct. But what kind of exercise can I do to target that area? You can't. You just said it and then you were like, I know I can't, but can I? No. It is frustrating as I have dropped 36 pounds due to following your programs to a T. I just don't know what I'm missing to hit that area. Thank you for your help. Monica, you can't, even if you build muscle in that area, it's just going to make it seem bigger. You can't tighten, tone, whatever. If you're holding fat in that area, the only thing that you can do is be patient. Your body doesn't want to get rid of the fat around your middle because the fat around your middle is metabolically active. It produces hormones. So the fat around your middle produces a weaker form of estrogen called estrone. So your body doesn't want to get rid of that fat. It will get rid of fat on the soles of your feet, on your temples, on the palms of your hands before it will get rid of the fat around your back and your belly. Whenever I became a bikini athlete in 2017 was when I did my first show. I remember I still had a pocket of fat around my belly button. In fact, I was so skinny before that. Unfortunately, I was skinny fat. I didn't have a huge amount of muscle, but I was routinely eating about 1,200 calories a day as a yoga teacher. No matter what I did, I still had a pocket of fat around my belly button. Whenever I became a bikini athlete, I still had fat on my stomach. I never had this shredded stomach. I never had lines on my stomach. I never had veins on my stomach. And I couldn't understand what I could do to get rid of the fat. It actually took me many cycles of being on stage to get rid of that fat around my stomach. My body did not want to get rid of it. I don't think I actually got rid of all of the fat around my belly button until about 2020, I would say 2019 to 2020 probably. And now I don't have any fat on my stomach. I used to have just this little circle of fat around my belly button, like albeit very small, right? But it was still there. You could pinch it, you could wiggle it. It didn't break down until years and years and years, 5 years after I started weight training. And that was because it's the last area that my body wanted to get rid of. And it took many cycles of building a lot of muscle, then dieting for the stage, building a lot of muscle and dieting for the stage for it to finally go. So the problem is we're super impatient, right? We want to get rid of it now. That's the area that we want to be thinner. And so we think that there must be something that we can do. There actually really isn't anything you can do except be patient, which is not what you want to hear. But unfortunately, that's the only answer I can give you. Continue to build muscle and burn fat. It's the muscle that you put on in your body that raises your metabolism, that says to your body, it's okay to get rid of that pocket of fat. Because the higher your metabolism through having more muscle, the more your body will burn fat at rest, or not fat, your body will burn calories at rest. So the only thing I've found consistently for women in my program to get rid of the last areas of fat that they don't want anymore is time and consistency. Consistently building muscle over a long period of time, and then intermittent periods of shredding. So you do, unfortunately, I have found, have to go on a shred at some point. And I mean like a pretty hard cut where, you know, you really shred down to as low body fat as you possibly can. And then you go back into a cycle of building. So the cycle of building and shredding does seem to get rid of it faster, but you can also just get rid of it over time. But like, I'm not going to lie to you, Monica, it's going to take 3 to 5 years. And I hate telling women that because they're like, what? 3 to 5 years? But this is an 8-week program. Yeah, but this 8-week program is like the start. Can you imagine if I marketed a 5-year program? People would be like, I don't even know where I'm going to be in 5 days. Kim, never mind 5 years. Like, I'm not buying a 5-year program. But actually, probably some of the diehards here, like Laurie, she'd be like, yeah, where do I sign? Give me the 5-year program. How much is it? I'm there. So it's going to take 3 to 5 years, unfortunately, to really transform your body into athlete style, body fat, muscle mass, whatever. So you're in the right place. You're starting now. You just have to commit to not giving up. I'm going to keep pumping out programs for you. I'm not going anywhere for the next 5 years. So if you want to hang around with me for the next 5 years, I promise I'll get you there. But you just have to be committed to the long term. You're not going to do it in 8 weeks. You're not going to do it in 12 weeks. You're probably not going to do it in 12 months. I hate to tell you. Will your body change dramatically? Yeah. Will it be like perfection? No. When I say perfection, I mean like stage style perfection. Probably not, but you're in the right place, so keep going. Nadia Byrne. I have lost a couple of pounds and I see some early leaning out so far. I am worried about losing more weight though, as I'm already under 50 kilograms, 109 pounds. Can I expect results to continue if I keep up the exercises but not drop the calories for the meals? I am knowledgeable and committed to eating the right amount of calories. I just know that at 1,500 calories daily, I will be shedding pounds I don't really have, except in my pancake butt on the back of my thighs. So Nadine, here's the thing. If you are on a shred and you're dropping calories, you're going to lose body fat. So if you don't want to lose body fat, then don't drop your calories. That's really it. Like if you don't want to lose any more body fat, don't drop your calories. But there's a difference between weighing something on the scale, being a scale weight, and being having a body composition that is that of an athlete, say. So what do I mean by that? Well, you can still build muscle on 1,500, 1,400, 1,300, 1,200 calories. You absolutely 100% can. You're not going to sacrifice any muscle building capabilities at all. You will continue to lose body fat and build muscle at the same time. If you don't drop your calories any further, then you will stop shredding fat at the rate that you're shredding it at, yes. And if you're okay with that, then by all means, stay at the 1,500 calories or go higher than the 1,500 calories. It really depends on what you want. So if you want to drop fat on your thighs and your butt, then the only way to do it is to follow the program. Do the cardio, do the calories, drop the calories, and see where you go. But if you're like, I'm getting far too skinny, I'm already skinny, I don't like how I look, then maybe you don't want to drop any more body fat. It really is just up to you. But it comes back to what I always preach, which is you have to know what your goal is. What is your goal at the end of ButtCamp? Was it solely to build muscle, to stay at the same body fat and build muscle? Because if it was, then you should be eating at your total daily energy expenditure, not eating at shred calories. But if your goal is to drop a bit of body fat, then doing the cardio and following the meal plans is going to cause you to drop a bit of body fat and also build muscle. So it really depends on your goal at the end of the day. So try and figure out what your goal is. If your goal is to just solely build muscle, then by all means stay at the same calories or even increase them. If your goal is to drop a bit of body fat, then I would suggest following the plan, seeing where you are at the end of it, and then setting a new goal. Okay, lovely Laurie has the next question. I've never experienced bloating until now. I drink a gallon of water a day and more. I started using a probiotic. I've done several programs of yours. I've never had this issue. I'm following the non-vegan meal plan. Do you have any suggestions? You know, Laurie, our digestive systems change constantly, especially in menopause. And the other thing I find is it's not always dependent on the food that you're eating. I mean, it could be something in the food that's triggering your digestive system, but because our digestive system changes constantly because our hormones change, your digestion can be absolutely fine one day and then literally go to shit the next day. And quite often it's hormones that actually influence it. So I think you are on HRT. Isn't that correct, Laura? You're on HRT? Yeah. So whenever you're on HRT, that generally does stop estrogen affecting the digestive system. Not many women know that as your estrogen levels start to decline, and I know that you do know this, Laurie, but for the women who don't, as your estrogen levels start to decline, so does your digestive function, because estrogen supports the digestive system. So a lot of women start to experience bloating and gas, and like they just can't tolerate foods the way they used to before the age of 40. And this happened to me after 40. I used to be able to eat anything I wanted: beans, lentils, chickpeas, cruciferous vegetables. Like nothing affected me. I used to say I have the digestive system of an ox, right? I can eat anything. And then after the age of 40, I started suffering really bad gas, really bad bloating, digestive issues. If a lentil even passed my lips, I would literally be like blowing the bed covers off all night. It was horrendous. And then I started microdosing Ozempic, microdosing GLP-1s, and my digestion completely transformed. I have no issues whatsoever now. I can eat anything under the sun with zero issues whatsoever. I'm so regular. I always was super regular anyway, but I have no bloating, no gas, no discomfort now. So the GLP-1s are actually being used now to treat IBS and Crohn's disease, believe it or not. They're also being used in early trials to treat Parkinson's, which I think is so interesting, as well as endometriosis and PCOS. So anyone who has endometriosis, just as a little side note, my cousin sent me a message yesterday and she was like, oh my God, Kim, she said, I have dropped, and she's been trying to lose body fat. She's been trying to lose weight for so long. She's been doing Slimming World, Weight Watchers. She's been exercising, running. She's been starving herself. And she started microdosing Ozempic. She's on half the standard starting dose about 4 weeks ago. She messaged me yesterday. She said, I've dropped 6.5 kilos, which is 14 pounds. And in 4 weeks, and she said, my endometriosis pain is completely gone. I have zero pain anymore. And she said, it's literally been life-changing for me. So the one thing I will say is anyone interested in those kinds of results, especially for digestion as well. GLP-1s literally are the magic cure for digestion. But back to your question, what could be causing it? Honestly, I can't even give you an answer. I don't know. But what you could try is elimination diet. You could try, isolating the foods that are causing. You could try like just pushing through it to the end of the program if you don't want to start messing around with the meal plan. Or you could start looking at it and say, well, what's different that I'm eating that I wasn't eating before? It's probably just age, unfortunately, related, because as we get older, our hormones start to really affect our digestive system, and you just have to suck it up. But I don't know. I don't think you're on the GLP-1s, are you, Laurie? No, just give me a nod or you are okay, perfect. So microdosing the GLP-1s really does help, but it does take a while to onboard. Usually takes about 3 to 4 weeks, I found, for my digestion to really settle down, and the onboarding process takes a little bit longer. But trial and error is what I would say. Suck it up till the end of the program and then do an elimination diet. Okay, Charlene O'Carroll Booley. Hi, Kim. I would like to know how to find the right multivitamin for a menopausal woman over 50. Do you believe in them? Is there something you would recommend, or is it just a gimmick? Thank you for your time. So, Charlene, I always say that you're better to take multivitamins or you're better to take supplements based on what it is that your body needs. So, I have never supplemented with kind of a general multivitamin. It's not something that I've ever done. But what I do is not gospel. Okay. So, I'm only going to tell you what I do. I get blood work done regularly. And then I look at my blood work and I see what all my levels are at and what I might be deficient in or what I might need more of. My last blood work showed that I was low in testosterone. And it showed also that I was low in vitamin B12. Was there something else I was low in? I think there was something else I was low in. I can't even remember. So I started supplementing again with vitamin B12. I went for weekly vitamin B12 injections for 4 weeks. I now take a double dose of vitamin B12, actually vitamin B complex, which has all the B vitamins, which are, by the way, a lot of people don't know that people who are deficient in vitamin B suffer from a lot of inflammation. So if you feel like you have any kind of inflammation in your body, you could be low on vitamin B. And you want to take the complex, not just the B12. So I take 2,000 micrograms of vitamin B complex daily. I use Solgar as a brand, Solgar. I also take 2,000 milligrams of magnesium daily, simply because it draws water into the bowel and it keeps your digestive system very efficient, which I really love. I don't use it for sleep or muscle recovery. It does protect the myelin sheath around the nerve, so it's supposed to be really good for nerve conduction and signaling and also for muscle recovery. But that isn't why I take it. I take it more for the digestive benefits. What else do I take? I take vitamin D whenever it's winter here in Northern Ireland because it's just fucking bleak all the time. So I take vitamin D drops. And that's really it. I don't take anything else. I haven't done for a long time. I used to take a whole plethora of bloody vitamins. I was like a walking pillbox for so many years. Did I feel any better than I feel now? No, I really didn't. So now what I do is I get my blood work done. I look and see what I'm deficient in, and then I supplement based on actual data. I think a lot of times we supplement a lot because we see stuff on TikTok or on Instagram, or we hear someone's taking this or someone's taking that, and adaptogenic herbs are amazing. Like I really got into adaptogens for years, and I would have taken all different types of reishi mushroom and lion's mane and all different types of stuff. I can't even remember all the stuff. Ashwagandha I used to take as well. But again, can I say that when I took it, I felt any better? No, like I really didn't. So honestly, my goal in life is to feel good, to have energy, to feel healthy, to feel fit. But I don't just go by how I feel. I get blood work done every 6 months and I look at my markers. What are my markers saying? Are my markers saying that I'm in good health or that I need to supplement with something? And that is what I use for data. So I think a lot of times we take a lot of stuff because we're sold it and it sounds really good. And your friend was taking it and she said it was amazing. I usually only take supplements based on actual data. So what I would recommend for anyone wanting to know what they should be taking is go get some blood work done, have them look at all of your levels of everything, and then decide what you're going to take based on that. And if you can't afford to get blood work done, or that's just not an option for you, then you could look at the general supplements that are for, general health. What do I recommend? Always a vitamin B complex. I don't think anyone will ever go wrong taking a vitamin B complex. If your iron levels were low, you should probably look at supplementing iron. My iron levels have never been low though, even though I'm vegan. Vitamin D, if you don't live in a country with a lot of sunshine, really important for bones and for general mood. And magnesium, a fantastic supplement, good all-round supplement. Apart from that, I've never really taken anything else. Vitamin C, I took intermittently on and off for a few years. Selenium, I took intermittently on and off. But again, I just supplement based on data now, and that's what I would recommend. Carrie Ann Hill. I'm going on to be on a flight to San Francisco tomorrow, but I will catch the replay. I'm really struggling with eating 1,500 calories. I track all my macros, but it usually ends up around 1,200 calories. I'm not hungry. Getting enough protein a day, 130 grams. Is this okay to be under the calories if I have enough energy and I'm meeting my protein goals? Carrie, it's okay to be under the calories as long as you're consistent with your calories. That's the biggest thing for getting results. So it doesn't really matter if your calories are 1,500, 1,400, 1,300, 1,800, whatever. how you lose body fat is, or how you get results is through consistency. So if you're eating 1,200 calories a day, eat 1,200 calories a day consistently, okay? Because then you'll know how to add in or take away. Hopefully you're not taking away from 1,200 calories, because then you might just waste away to nothing, Carrie, and I quite like you and I wouldn't want you to do that. So I think 1,200 is very, very low, to be honest. I would like to see you definitely having some higher calorie meals at some point during the week just to keep your metabolism roaring along. But if 1,200 works for you, you have loads of energy, you're getting in loads of protein, you're meeting your goals and requirements and everything's good, I'm not going to stop you from doing it. But just whatever you're doing, make sure that you do it consistently is what I would say. Sylvie Dumont, you see how fast I'm getting through these questions? I'm like committed to getting through the questions. Sylvie Dumont, I heard somewhere that it is good to vary the amount of calories you give your body from one day to the other. The logic behind this, from what I understood, is to trick your body. Oh, I'm going to have so much fun with this one. Into not going into saving or panic mode, where it starts burning less calories and slows down your metabolism for fear of not having enough in the next meal. So by having a few, sorry, you guys are all pissing yourselves laughing. You've known me for a long time. By the way, Sylvie, I'm not laughing at you, but if you've been around me for a long time, you'll, yeah. Anyway, we'll keep going. So by having fewer calorie days mixed with more normal calorie intake days, it would keep its high burning metabolism even on low calorie days. And in keeping with this logic, she says, if one is supposed to have, let's say, 1,600 calories a day as on a regular basis, but one day has 1,800 calories, does it make up for it to have 1,400 calories the next day? Does it even it out that way, say as an average thing? I presume keeping the same macro appropriate proportions. Thanks so much, Sylvie from Quebec. Okay. So much in this, Sylvie. So much juicy stuff in here. So first of all, let me address the last bit, okay? If one is supposed to have 1,600 calories, but you have 1,800 calories one day, can you have 1,400 calories on another day to even it out? The short answer to that, interestingly, is yes. So, but not on a shred. So this is outside of a shred. So the answer for this program is, this is a general answer I'm going to give you. On this program, the answer is follow the plan. Don't change the plan, follow the plan. So for anyone listening to this, no, you cannot have 1,400 calories one day and 1,800 calories the next day, okay? No, you can't. You follow the plan. Why do you follow the plan? Because that's what gets guaranteed results. Outside of this plan, I'll give you the answer. Whenever you work out someone's calories, you work them out over a 7-day period. So if you ever go on to one of the calorie trackers, or you go on, use our macro calculations, then you will put in how many times a week you train, how many times a week you strength train, how many times a week you do cardio, right? You'll estimate, I train, hard sports or moderate sports or whatever, say 3 to 5 days a week. And you will then put in your height, your weight, your body fat, all that kind of stuff. And we will use the Catch-McCardle method to work out what your body, how many calories your body will burn at rest. So once you've worked out how many calories your body will burn at rest, and how that's worked out is by looking at your lean mass. So I'll explain this a little bit more. Your body is made up of lean mass, which is your muscle mass, your ligaments, your tendons, your tissues, all that kind of stuff, your bones, and your fat mass. So whenever you are working out your lean mass, you want to work out your body fat percentage, and then you take that away, and whatever is left is what is responsible for burning calories. Because fat, yes, fat burns teeny tiny amounts of calories to have it in your body, but let's say your body fat is 20%. So let's say your weight is 50 kilos. Well, and your body fat is 20%. That means 10 kilos of your 50 kilo weight will be fat mass. So when you're working out how many calories your body needs at rest, you will only work it out on the 40 kilos that is not fat mass. Make sense? So that is the calories that your body will burn at rest, because that is active live tissue that your body's even making bone marrow, right? Your body's making bone marrow. It's strengthening your bones. It's keeping all your tissues alive. Your muscle is very calorie hungry. So whenever you're working out your calories at rest, you work it out on your lean mass. Then you multiply that daily calorie need from your lean mass. You multiply that by an activity factor. So how many times a week you train, plus how active your job or sedentary your job is, your daily life is, will give you a kind of an estimated activity factor. If you're very sedentary, that activity factor will literally be 1.2. So let's say your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, is 1,600 calories, and you're very sedentary and you do no exercise and you sit at a desk all day, your daily calorie intake might be 1,650 calories or 1,700 calories, okay? But if you're very active, then it's going to be higher because you're burning more calories from being active. That is worked out over a 7-day period. It's not worked out over a daily period, it's worked over a 7-day period. So whenever someone works that out for you, you work it out yourself and you should eat 2,000 calories a day. It's not really 2,000 calories a day, it's actually 14,000 calories over 7 days. So the calculator works out your 7-day calorie requirement and divides it by 7. So technically, and I've done this for years, technically, you could eat less during the week and more on the weekend if you were tracking. So let's say you had a 14,000 calorie requirement and you wanted to keep 4,000 calories for the weekend. You could take the remaining 10,000 calories and you could divide that by 5. And then that would be your daily calorie intake. So which means in a 7-day period, you wouldn't exceed the 14,000 calories, which means that you would technically lose weight, maintain weight, whatever it is your goal was. All make it sense? So the technical answer is yes, but in this program, the actual answer is no. So to go back to the start of your question, which was that you've heard it's good to vary the amount of calories you give your body from one day to the other, the logic being you trick your body into not going into saving or panic mode. So this always makes me laugh. Mark Getty, my trainer, my ex-trainer, who, and still one of my best friends, we have done so many podcasts together and so many lives, and people laugh their heads off at Mark and I. I remember saying this to Mark years ago. Mark, do you believe that it's possible to trick your body? Oh my God, Mark went off on a rant. And it's so funny if you think about it. People talk about, you should change up your exercises so you trick your body. Mark always used to say, your body is the smartest living organism that exists on the planet. Your thinking mind cannot trick your body. you cannot trick your body. You spend your entire day trying to figure out what is going on with your body. Your body is smarter than any other thing on earth. Your body cannot be tricked, okay? There is no tricking your body. Your body doesn't go like, oh my God, I'm so confused. Yesterday, she was eating 1,400 calories and she was running, and today she's on the treadmill and she's eating 1,700. I'm totally confused. I don't know what to do now. I'm just not sure what we should do. So I'm going to, you know what, Margaret, I imagine like your brain talking maybe to like another brain cell. Margaret, give her some extra calorie burn because I'm just confused now. And because I'm confused, I'm going on a strike and I'm not really sure what to do. So just like chuck some extra fat burning at her today because we're confused by the whole process and we don't know what's going on. Like whenever you kind of put it into like satirical form, you're kind of a bit like, oh yeah, okay, she can making sense now. Like, really? Can we confuse our bodies? No, there is no confusing your body. So here's what happens, and this is based in science. Your body has a thing called a homeostatic norm. Your body's main goal is to keep you alive. That's all it wants. It wants to keep you safe, wants to keep you alive. It wants to keep you alive for a long time. So your body is always adapting to what's going on. It's not guessing, right? It's not like, I wonder what she's going to do next. That's not what your body's thinking, because you have a mind. Your body just regulates based on stimulus. So stimulus comes in, Kim's eating 1,400 calories today. So your body reacts to the 1,400 calories. What's your body's main goal? To keep you alive. That's all it wants to do, to keep you alive. So whenever you have consistency in your diet, your body will create what's called a homeostatic norm, not just in your diet, when you have consistency in your life. So if you run 30 miles a week and you eat 1,800 calories a day, and in between running 30 miles a week, because you're a runner, you don't do any strength training, but you eat consistently about 1,800 calories a day, and you're kind of sedentary the rest of the time because you have a desk job, but you also have a very high stress, hobby, right? Let's say you do like axe throwing or something and like you're the target. So your body will know that on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays when you're the target in axe throwing, you're in a high stress situation. So it will regulate your central nervous system to deal with that. And then it knows that on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sundays, you go running, you do 10-mile runs. So your body will naturally conserve a little more energy on those days because routinely on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, you run for 10 miles. So your body settles into a homeostatic norm based on the stimulus coming in. So it will digest, conserve, hold, release based on the routine that you set for yourself. If you eat a little more one day and a little less the next day, and you do that consistently for a long period of time, your body will regulate to that. Your body will regulate a consistency to the inconsistency. Make it sense? It actually works against you a lot of time. Because if you're not routinely feeding your body what it needs, your body has to hold on to extra water, potentially, has to hold on to extra fat, potentially. So your body's always trying to keep you alive. Let's say that you routinely go on yo-yo diets where you slash your calories. Well, your body will then realize that you are routinely going through periods of famine. So it thinks that you're like starving in the jungle. It thinks you're like foraging for food and there's a period of famine, right? It's winter and there's not a lot of available food. So your body then goes into fat storage mode and holds onto body fat because that's what it perceives it needs to get through the shortage. And then whenever you go into a period of famine, your body will say, okay, great. Well, we know there's another period of shortage coming here. So let's store as much body fat as we possibly can because we know that the period of famine is coming. So a lot of times what happens is people who yo-yo diet end up getting fatter over time because they go into this big, massive decreased calorie mode and the body then goes, oh shit, right? Not enough calories coming in. So it starts to burn off muscle tissue. It starts to break down, lean muscle mass, and it starts to hold on to fat because fat is the thing that is going to get it through the perceived shortage because it doesn't know you're dieting. It thinks that you're going to die. So it's trying to keep you safe by holding on to the fat. Then whenever you start to eat again, your body starts packing everything into fat store because it's burned off a lot of lean muscle mass and lean tissue that would have, been able to use those calories for. So there's less metabolic burn for the calories you're eating, so more of it goes into fat store. So then whenever you diet again, your body's like, great, okay, we have the extra fat to get us through the perceived shortage. So you actually end up adding more and more and more and more fat tissue over time and burning off more and more and more muscle tissue over time. So you end up fatter overall because you have lean muscle mass and you have more fat mass. So your body's always creating a homeostatic norm. It's always creating an equilibrium. It's responding to stimulus that's coming in. What the body really loves more than anything is consistency. It takes about 7 days, scientifically they have worked out, for your body to regulate to a new homeostatic norm. So whenever you are adding in, so that's why on my programs, we gradually drop calories. So you've been, in this program, we're always changing something. In this program, I decided not to increase the cardio. Normally in our programs, we increase the cardio gradually and we decrease the calories gradually. And that's the thing that changes. In this program, because I'm teaching you in the strength training workouts, what I've been doing to stop your body creating a homeostatic norm is I've been increasing the intensity of the workouts. Have you all noticed, by the way? Are you all like shocked by that? Is this new news to you? You're like, really, Kim? So shocked by this. So I've been gradually increasing the intensity of the workouts. I've been keeping the cardio the same, but increasing the intensity of the workouts. So you kept the calories the same for the first 4 weeks, totally fine. You didn't really need to change those because I've been increasing the intensity of the exercise. So your body hasn't had a chance to regulate, but now we're going to keep increasing the intensity of the exercise. I'm sorry, we are, while decreasing the calories. So you always want to be changing something to stop the body regulating, but not changing it daily. Changing it weekly or changing it every 2 weeks is enough. So your body will regulate, and then once it's regulated, boom, you bring in another change. You increase your cardio, you decrease your calories, or you do both at the same time. That's what stage athletes do. So the body constantly stays in fat burning mode because it doesn't regulate to the homeostatic norm that you've created for it. Changing it up daily doesn't confuse the body. It just makes it harder to predict and control. But if you changed it up daily, the only thing you would confuse is yourself because you would have no consistency. So you wouldn't know where to go. You wouldn't be able to look in the mirror and say, Okay, so this week I stayed on 1,500 calories. I did 30 minutes of cardio. I increased the intensity of my strength training workouts, and this was my result. And it was less than I wanted or more than I wanted. So next week, I'm going to change this thing and I'm going to see where I am at the end of that week. You would have no consistency if you changed it every day. So the very long answer to your question is no. That is definitely not a good strategy. I've never in my life heard anyone tricking their body from going into saving mode or panic mode. The only way that your body would do that is if you consistently stayed on very low calories for a long period of time. And so more than 7 days, if you went into starvation mode for more than 7 days and didn't strength train and were doing a huge amount of cardio, then your body would slow down the fat burning process and would start to burn off lean muscle mass instead. But if you don't do that, which is what we're not doing in this program, then there's no reason for your body to go into panic storage mode because you're building muscle, you're feeding it routinely and consistency, which it loves, routinely and with consistency, which it loves, and you are keeping your cardio consistent as well. The body loves consistency. It does not love change. So always remember that whenever making decisions. Okay. Raywin, I think it is. Raywin D. Hi, Kim. First time learning about you and your fitness programs. Well, welcome. Welcome. I'm so excited to have so many new people here. I think we had about 1,500 new customers join this program, which was amazing. Thank you for creating such a great diet and workout plan. You are so welcome. My goal is to build muscle and target loose skin after weight loss, post-menopause, 61 years. Can we do this program without losing weight, as I'm happy with my size, but not my shape or my muscle ratio? Yes, 100%. If you don't want to lose any body fat, then you can simply eat more calories. That's all you need. I wouldn't recommend not doing the cardio, because doing the cardio is going to strengthen your heart. It's going to strengthen your limbs, strengthen your joints, strengthen your bones, strengthen everything. You want to be cardiovascularly fit as much as possible. So anyone who doesn't want to lose body fat, who are these people? I don't know who they are, but anyone who doesn't want to lose body fat, I'm sure there's many women in the program would be happy to donate some of theirs, right? It's just, I mean, share and share alike. But you can absolutely eat more calories if you don't want to lose any more body fat. That's what I would say, rather than ever cutting down on the training or the cardio, because that is what's going to keep you fit and healthy in the long term. I feel Amanda Imsland is saying, I feel like I look like a character from Avatar, long, lanky, and skinny. I am following everything and using the gym program, and I'm feeling and looking very thin and skinny, and not in a good way. I'm 2 pounds heavier than when I started, and I was already at around 14%. Okay, that 2 pounds could be water, just FYI. I'm sorry, I was ready around 14% body fat. I do the cardio, then walk my dog 8 kilometers before heading to the gym every day. I'm concerned that I'm not getting enough of something to help me grow muscles. I do feel bigger muscles, stronger, but just not getting much development. Any suggestions? I really like the workouts and I will keep doing this when I'm done. So Amanda, first of all, it's only been 3 weeks, right? We're only in week 4. Not right? Are we in week 4 now? Yeah, we're in week 4, aren't we? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you're not going to see much muscle development just yet, because whenever you train intensely, you're going to be getting about 1 pound of muscle tissue per month. Unfortunately, that's it. 1 pound. So I always like to say, how much is a pound? Well, I've got this pink cloth here because this is what I use to wipe my board whenever I'm writing my workouts on it. I remember whenever my mum used to send me into the butcher's whenever we were younger, and she used to send me in and she used to say, go in and get a pound of lean minced beef, because she was going to make like a bolognese. So I used to go into the butcher's and I used to say, can I please have a pound of lean minced beef? And he would scoop it up in his hand, or, you know, with the glove on or whatever. And he would say, is that okay? And I would say, yep, great. And he would put it into a bag and then he would click, you know, with the wee thing on it. And then he would hand it to me and I would pay for it. And then I would go out of the butcher's with my pound of lean minced beef. And I remember it was about this size here. So for context, I'll hold this up against my head. 1 pound of lean minced beef was about, I would say, the size of this. So 1 pound, I'm sure you guys have all at some point in your life had 1 pound of lean minced beef. That's about the amount of muscle you get over your entire body, inside and out, in 1 month. So remember, you have internal obliques, you have internal stabilizing muscles, You have glutes, legs, shoulders, a huge big back. You have muscles on the soles of your feet. You have muscles in your hands. You have muscles in your face. You get 1 pound smeared over your entire body every month. So I think sometimes people don't understand. And that's, by the way, if you're training really hard and really intensely. If you're doing my workouts at home, I can guarantee following me, you will be getting a pound a month. Sometimes whenever you're an advanced trainer, you'll maybe only get half a pound a month, sometimes even less, because your muscles have, a huge amount of adaptation and you're not going to be really pushing way beyond failure like you are. Newbie gains are a thing. So if you can imagine that 1 pound smeared over your entire body, you're not even a month in, you're only 3 weeks in. Well, so whenever women say in the group, I'm not seeing much muscle definition, even though we are working our glutes intensely, most of the muscle that you're going to be getting is going to be going on your glutes. But not all, because you are going to be building muscle, obviously, in your shoulders and in your arms and in your triceps and in your back. But if you can think in only 3 weeks, you have maybe got like a layer, one thin layer of muscle over your glutes in 3 weeks, or maybe a little more, right? Just depends. I build muscle very quickly. So I definitely have noticed my glutes getting a lot bigger because of just how intensely I'm building them. But muscle is scar tissue. So think about and I've used this analogy a lot. Let's say you took a piece of sandpaper and you rubbed it on your hand. And you rubbed it like here on the palm of your hand. You rubbed it really quite hard until your hand was raw. And then you let it heal. You let it heal for a full week. Can you imagine what your hand would look like at the end of it? You would have a thin layer of scar tissue on your hand, wouldn't you? If you just rubbed it with a piece of sandpaper until it was kind of red and a bit raw, not like a big bloody mess, but just like raw. Calluses, like I have calluses on my hands, right? See them there? So those calluses are like scar tissue, and scar tissue, muscle is scar tissue. So every time you rip your muscles apart and they regrow, you get a layer of scar tissue. That's why it takes so long to grow, because you're getting a layer and another layer and another layer and another layer. But it takes years for that layer to become thick, especially on the glutes, unfortunately. So I think it's important to understand how long it takes to build muscle. You can't really speed up the process unless you're going to take like anabolic steroids and you're going to like inject yourself and like, and then you'll like turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, you won't really, but you know what I'm saying? That like you can force the body to grow more muscle if you want to inject yourself with some anabolic steroids, which I do not recommend, by the way. But really, the only way that you can maximize your muscle growth is by training to failure and beyond failure with intensity, which is what we're doing in the home workouts. You said you're going to the gym, Amanda. I would recommend that you don't follow the gym program unless you have a personal trainer, unless you are a seasoned, experienced trainer who can lift to failure and beyond. Because I have found from 10 years of running this company that unless women are real type A's and they beast it in the gym because they're that kind of person, or they have a personal trainer or a spotter who's willing to push them way beyond their comfort zone, they're just not getting the results that they get from my home programs because they're not going way beyond failure, which is what we do in the home programs. So if you want to build muscle faster, honestly, the fastest way to build it for most women, 99% of women doing this program, is by following my training, my workouts. You can do them in the gym. You can use the equipment in the gym. You can use the dumbbells. You can use the Smith machine if you want to do the hip thrusts, right? But using my programs and following me is going to be the fastest way to build muscle. But you have to understand just how much muscle you're getting. It's about a pound a month over your entire body, which can make you go like, and I know probably some of you are like, okay, a pound a month, 8 weeks, 2 months, 2 pounds of muscle over my entire body. That's it. Like I thought I was going to be transformed. She promised me that ButtCamp was going to transform my body in 8 weeks. Well, it's not really. Like it's going to be the start of your transformation. You're going to lose a lot of body fat. You're going to start to really build muscle. You're going to put yourself into an incredible muscle building place because you're going to be you're going to have this central nervous system pattern of movement patterned into your body and into your central nervous system. So you can go heavier, you can push harder, you can go more. You're going to maximize your chance of building more muscle in the future. Are you going to have a completely new body in 8 weeks? No, absolutely not. Especially if you're already super lean and you want to build muscle. That shit takes years. I would love to tell you all that it happens sooner, but it doesn't. I'm never going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you how long it takes. It takes years. And the best way for me to visualize it is go into a butcher. Well, actually don't, because I don't want anyone buying poor animals. But anyway, go into this amount of lean muscled mass over your entire body. Like imagine you chopped off a little bit and smeared it over your arm, and chopped off another little bit and smeared it on the other arm, chopped off another little bit and stuck it in your glute, another little bit in your quad. And women are like, I've been working my quads for so long and they're not growing. Do you know how big your quadriceps are? They're massive. So keep going is what I would say, Amanda. Keep going. Don't give up, because pretty soon 3 to 5 years will have passed and you'll have a whole new body, but it's not going to happen in 3 to 5 months, unfortunately. You just have to keep going, but don't let that derail you. Okay. Let that motivate you to lift heavier, work harder, build more muscle. I promise it's within your reach. Okay. Ivana, what does consistency over perfection really mean in practice? If you stick to your workouts, that already feels like perfection. But if you skip one, are you still considered consistent? Or have you lost both consistency and perfection? Same with food and recovery, right? So consistency over perfection means, did you show up 80% of your time? Did you show up 80% of the time? That's consistency. No one is ever 100% consistent. Never. Not like, maybe you can be 100% consistent for a week, but results take years. So over a 12-month period, ask yourself, did you show up 80 to 90% of the time? If the answer is yes, then you were consistent. But if you showed up for a month, fell off for 3 weeks, recommitted for 5 days, stopped for 5 days, recommitted for 12 weeks, and then fell off the wagon for 4 months, that's not consistent. That's consistently inconsistent, right? So you are consistent, but you're consistently inconsistent, which is a form of consistency, just not a very helpful one. So consistency is over a 12-month period. Did you show up 80 to 90% of the time? If you did, you are consistent. Congratulations. Mike in Hedgeguard. Hi, Kim. Could you please explain the difference between hip thrusts and glute bridges in regard to the working muscles? Am I missing out if I only do one or the other? So hip thrusts are technically done with your back elevated on a bench. Glute bridges technically are done from the floor. I prefer hip thrusts because you have a bigger range of motion. Both are helpful, but I prefer hip thrusts because you can drop your hips down further and thrust up with more of a squeeze. You can also lift more load. I find glute bridges have a much lower range of motion unless you raise your feet high, and then I find them awkward with the feet high. And so I find you can load up on hip thrust so much more. Are you missing out if you don't do one? Probably not. No, I very rarely do glute bridges. The only ones I will ever do is hamstring glute bridges, which you guys know because they're in the program. But very rarely will I do glute bridges because honestly, the shorter range of motion, I just don't find works the glutes effectively. So as long as you're doing hip thrust, you're doing fine. Krista Ridley, do waist trainers do anything? I've seen people swear by them, but I'm 100% skeptical. No, they do fuck all. Excuse my language. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Absolute and utter bullshit. They do nothing but make you uncomfortable. They slow down your digestion. I wore one to try it whenever I was standing on stage as a bikini athlete. Now, over time, did women who wore corsets years ago end up having a smaller waist? Yes, but they also ended up completely destroying their rib cage and their internal organs and their bone structure, okay? So no, waist trainers do nothing. Whenever you wear one, they may momentarily make you feel like you have a smaller waist when you take it off. Just like whenever you take off your rings. Like if I was to whenever I take off my Oura ring, my finger goes in a slight dip. Whenever I take off my wedding rings, my finger is slightly thinner than on the other ones. But if I took those wedding rings off and I left them off for a few days, the skin on my fingers would come out again. So momentarily they make your waist thinner. What they can also do is make you sweat like crazy. So you can lose a bit of water in that area. So when you take them off, you feel thinner. Apart from that, they do nothing. Do not buy into them. Do not buy one. Total waste of time. Honestly, I've tried it. Does nothing. Stay well away. They just make you uncomfortable. Last question. I'm so excited that I got through them. Cindy Crownenshield. You always talk about self-sabotage. What about family sabotage? Mine seem to have made it an Olympic sport. They interrupt my schedule, raid my fridge, and somehow make my carefully prepped meals disappear faster than I can say macros. Meal prepping for the week, forget it. Even a day's worth of food isn't safe. I'm seriously considering installing a second fridge with a padlock and a security camera. Do you have any advice short of going full on Mission Impossible to guard my groceries? I know I can't be the only one dealing with this kind of chaos. Yes. Okay. So Cindy, here's what you have to do. You have to stop making it okay for them to do it. You want them, and I'm guessing here, not that I've ever done this or had experience with it, but I've heard of other people. The problem is whenever you're a mother and a wife and your job is to take care of your family, you're battling between wanting to take care of them and make them feel comfortable and also not wanting to because it's sabotaging your goals. So, you know how as mothers and wives, we as women, we will give up what we want. Like if you're absolutely starving and there's like one portion of dinner left and your child reaches for it and they're like, oh, sorry, mommy, do you want it? You'll go, no, it's fine. You take it. No problem at all. Like if I don't know about you, but if I'm ever at a dinner party or I'm hosting a dinner party and I think there might not be enough food, I will hold back in eating so that everyone else can eat. That's just the way we women are. I don't know whether you guys are the same, but I am. I will always give up something that I want for my husband or for my children especially for my children, because I'm programmed that way. So that's the way women are. Unfortunately, that can be very conflicting with whenever we have a goal like this. If you're putting food in the fridge and they're eating your food and you're not holding them accountable to it, unfortunately, it's your problem. And I'm being quite tough on you here because I have been through this with my family as well. And you have to sit them down and say to them, I am on a shred. This is extremely important to me. And so if I am important to you, then you need to make this important to you. Because by eating my food, by sabotaging my goals, you are effectively hurting me. Do you want to hurt me? And they'll be like, Mom, for God's sake, like you're being so dramatic, And you'll be like, this may be dramatic. This may sound dramatic, but this seems to be the only way that I can get through to you guys. I've tried being annoyed with you. I've tried punishing you. I've tried making, a problem about it. But unfortunately, when the food's gone, it's too late. So the only way that I can show you how important this is to me is by sitting down and talking to you about it and telling you that if I am important to you, then you have to respect this. It's like having a boundary. It's like asking someone to respect your boundaries. But if it's a problem that is continuing, Cindy, unfortunately, it's a problem you're choosing. And if you need to put a padlock on the fridge, put a padlock on the fridge. If you need to say to them, okay, and put in a consequence. The next time someone takes my food, the next time someone eats my meal, then this is going to be the consequence. I won't do this, or I will do this, or this will happen. If you are serious about something, then you have to sit down and address it with your family. Imagine you had life-saving medication. Imagine you had medication in your fridge and you had to take this medication 5 times a day. And if you missed one of the medications, you would die. You would die. If you were 1 hour over taking your medication, you would die. What would you do? Well, you would sit down with your family and you would say, I must take medication 5 times a day. Here is the medication. Here is where it is. Because you would know that you would be important enough to them for them to not want you to die. So you would address the situation. You would sit down with them and you would say, this is what is acceptable and this is what's not. This is what I expect. This is what it looks like. This is where it'll be. This is how it's going to be. You would make it important enough to you to teach them how to manage your medication. The question is, how important is this to you? Because I always say, when it's important to us, we will find a way. And when it's not, we'll find an excuse. So you can't have, both things can't be true at the same time. You can't love and support your family and kind of want them to eat and kind of, be annoyed with them for eating your food sometimes and not annoyed with them other times. You have to have a clear rule. It's never okay for you to eat my food, ever. And you figure out a system, write on it. Whenever you bring in your groceries, write on it in a big marker. Moms, don't eat. Like we have systems in our house. We're amazing with timers. So whenever my kids were younger, I always used to set timers for everything. So there was never Mom, it's my turn. It's my turn. He's been doing whatever. Like if the kids were playing a game and one of them wanted to go, or, they were going to take turns, I would have said, set a timer. We had timers everywhere in our house. Our kids used to come into the kitchen. I used to be sitting with my friends, sometimes drinking coffee, and the kids would come in. They'd be like, beep, 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 beep. friend be like, what is your child doing? I'm like, oh, he's probably setting a timer, because timers are concrete. Timers are absolute. Timers are beep, 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 beep. I remember going to my friend's house once. Her son was looking after my kids whenever they were really young. This is where I learned about timers. And Theo, his name was, and he was like 15. He was babysitting, and I dropped the two boys off. I think they were like 4 and 3 at the time. And it was in America. And I said to Theo, Kai was asleep in the car, and I lifted him out of the car and I brought him in and I sat him on the couch or whatever. And he was all still sound asleep. And I said to Theo, if he sleeps too long, he won't sleep tonight. So please don't let him sleep too long. And Theo said, okay, how long is he allowed to sleep for? And I said, about 45 minutes. And he went, no problem. And he went over to the kitchen counter and he lifted the timer and he went beep, 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 beep. And he set the timer for 45 minutes. And I was like, what are you doing? And he said, I'm setting the timer so I can wake him. And this guy was 15. I remember going, this is incredible. She has her kids sorted. That's when I realized he wasn't taking any chances. And I could trust that in 45 minutes, he was going to wake Kai up. It was incredible. It just changed everything for me. And I thought timers are amazing because they go off, they beep, they teach your children, here is the end. And then it becomes, there's no wishy-washiness about it. So in our house, there's nothing wishy-washy. If something's important to me, I sit them down and I say, this is important to me. Here are the rules. Here are the guidelines. Does everyone agree? And when they say, yes, we agree, then you can hold them accountable to it. If you've just made a rule, no one must touch my food, but you haven't got their agreement that they're not going to touch your food, and actually, usually the rule is anything in the fridge is fair game, then they're going to abide by the normal rule, which is anything in the fridge is fair game. Suddenly you've introduced this new rule, which is this is fair game, but this is not. But you haven't actually sat down with them, explained to them, and got their agreement. So if you want them to respect you, you have to teach them what to respect. And if you don't do that, then it's just wishy-washy and you're just going to be upset. But if you don't tackle the problem, it's a problem you're choosing. It's not actually a problem. It's one that you're allowing to happen. So you can't complain and suffer about it because you haven't done anything to change it. Sorry if that's not what you want to hear, but Mama Kim's always going to tell you the truth. She's never going to sugarcoat it. So with that, that is our Q&A over today. Thank you so much for all of the wonderful questions. This was amazing. I stayed on for an additional 8 minutes because I wanted to make sure that I got through all of the questions. Can I just tell you, you're all doing absolutely amazingly well. This is not an easy workout. This is not an easy program. Showing up every day and busting your asses the way you're busting them, getting through the cardio and getting through the training, sticking with it, like following the meals, you're all smashing it out of the park. And even if you have missed a couple of workouts or you're eating off plan or whatever, I don't want you to worry about it. Just be proud of what you've achieved. Congratulate yourself for what you have managed to do rather than focusing on what you haven't. You've got the rest of your life to change. It's not going to happen in 8 weeks. And we're going to have another challenge straight after this one. So if you mess this one up, you can just do the next one and you will build consistency over perfection over time. I absolutely promise you. But I just want to tell you, I'm super proud of you. And thank you so much for showing up and smashing it out of the park because you inspire me to work harder and do more. And, then we all lift each other up. Sending you all so much love. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening to the recording. So nice to see you all waving. I'll see you in a workout tomorrow, and then we'll see you back here. Same time, same place for another Q&A next week. Okay. I'm sending you so much love. Bye, guys. Thanks for being here. Talk to you all soon.